Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. It's me, Vinod. Yes, there's been some strange things brewing in the market. Today, fortunately or unfortunately, the market was closed in India, so we didn't really feel the strange brew that is going across the globe. If you had noticed, we had Mr. Trump being very bombastic, saying, be cool, don't worry, don't panic, relax. This is an opportunity to invest, to buy. Don't worry, the world will kneel. Saying things like countries are coming and kissing my. All this was being said, and his cohorts were going around saying this, while all the leading economists of the world who were worth a salt kept saying this is a very bad idea. Mr. Trump always believed he had all the cards in his hand, and the principles of economics told him, no, you don't. And that was the reason for the sudden U-turn by the President of the United States to suddenly pause. And what was his reason for pausing? The principles of economics finally caught up with him and told him, no, sir, you cannot have it your way. You can't have the cake and eat it too. There is something which has happened after World War II, which led a series of events that led to the American dollar being known as the gold standard of the world. The simple reason was Europe was devastated after World War II. There was no industries, there was nothing there in the US per se to say as an economy. Germany was in shambles, the rest of Europe was in shambles due to World War II, and the only country which seemed to have been insulated from all the devastation of the World War was the United States, and the United States had all its factories and all its workers and everything intact. So US became the default powerhouse of the world, where everything was produced by the US and the US economy was safe and intact. It started supporting the rest of the world and helping the rest of the world be rebuilt after the World War. What was the bonus? The trade-off the Americans got was the American dollar became the reserve currency of the world, replacing the pound, and that led to what we have today, where everybody trades in dollars, everybody uses dollars, and dollars is considered actually independent, literally, of the American government, though it's not. The American government is the one which controls the dollar. The Americans are the ones who control the dollar, though the world acts as if the US dollar is as good as gold. And this has always been true. Whenever there's a recession, there's an economic hardship, people will flock to the dollar because it was looked upon as a safe haven. Because everyone uses the dollar, and if you hold on to the dollar, you can ride through the bad times and then use your dollar again and invest and try to grow again. This was very sound, very believable, because the Americans were considered the world's leading democracy and the policemen of the world, you want to say, people who feel to say that. But they were the ones who were considered to be the caretaker of the world. They made sure things were fair and things were equal in the best parts they could. There is arguments about what they did. I'm not getting into the politics of it, especially over 75 years. I don't want to deep dive into that. That will be another long video, and I'm not sure this channel or this platform requires that. But if you're interested, go ahead and Google it, buy some books, read about it, what the Americans have been doing for the last 75 years. But the American dollar was the gold standard. So this was very true. And the way Americans' government financed itself was by selling its debt. So they would say, I need some money to do XYZ. So you guys, why would you like to lend me some money? So you'll tell the American government, sure, I'll lend you the money and I'll take your interest. And Americans will say, don't worry, I'll be giving you the interest in dollars. And dollars is considered the gold standard. This is simply, I'm talking about in a very layman terms, how securities and bonds work. So countries like China, Japan, everybody around the world, when they had extra cash in their hand, they would go lend it to the American governments, because the American government always needed money for something or another, some of their pet projects over the last 75 years, just not now. The American debt problem just does not balloon overnight. It has been happening steadily for a very long time. The 1970s and the Nixon decoupling the dollar and the gold standard, all that, it's been slowly building up to this. So everyone's been willing to lend America money because they're being paid, their interest was being paid literally in gold. As far as we were concerned, we were willing to accept the American dollar as good as gold because it was a reserve currency and everyone used dollars to trade, to do everything. And in terms of economic hardship, gold was always considered the safety net. But lo and behold, Mr. Trump came into office and he decided to throw everything what the Americans have been doing for the last 75 years, whatever they built, the trust they built, the relationships they built. Like, for example, with Canada, a relationship which is 250 years old, they threw it out the window and said, nobody is my friend. All of you are my enemies. And Trump thought, you know what? This is going to work. Sure, it would work because he thought he had grip with everybody because everybody was selling to him. There was a huge deficit and people needed access to selling to him. And if he started slapping tariffs on them, he thought I'd be creating hardship. But the point he did not realize is everybody was using dollars. Everybody was holding US treasuries and securities all over the world because they had faith in the American system, the American country, the American dollar. They had faith in it. But he started shaking the foundations of that faith. So the world started saying, hey, if Trump can do this, if he can suddenly take a U-turn all by himself, like a dictator, like a person who doesn't care about anything, there's no rule of law in the US anymore. All kinds of things are coming out from the US. That's not in terms of economy, social structures, the courts, everything. The world seems very confused with the United States. So then starts the question, is the American dollar actually safe? This question started pondering on the minds of a lot of people holding American securities, and the strangest things started happening. In the past, whenever there's a correction in equity market, you will see the treasury yield going up, meaning there was a demand for dollars. The dollar would get stronger. But this time around, a very strange thing happened. The equities were crashing and nobody wanted the dollars. No one wants to hold on to those bonds. People started selling them. And this meant a bigger problem. It was in the precipice of a catastrophe happening. Are we still on that edge? Knife's edge? Maybe, maybe not. I do not know if him putting a pause for 90 days has pulled us back from the edge of everything, the whole world economy shattering, because that's where we are standing right now. Someone managed to convince him that, dude, look at the bond yield, what is happening there. Look at what's happening in the bond market. It is tanking. Please do something. Don't do this. And for some weird reason, even his so-called A-team who was around him for this tariffs, even they seem to have not been prior knowledge to this. And he announced a 90-day pause to everybody but China. And he's increased the Chinese tariff to 125, which makes absolutely no sense. Because the last time around when he was in power and he did the same thing, the Chinese said, no problem. You don't want from China? We'll build our factories in Vietnam. We'll build our factories in Cambodia. And we will send you the same products from there. The Chinese people will go there and work. Vietnamese are our friends. Cambodians are our friends. Laos are our friends. We'll support them. We'll give them aid. And we'll build our factories there. And it's true. All over Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos, you'll find Chinese factories creating these products which are coming with no tariffs to US. So by pausing this and raising the tariffs on China, I really don't know what he's trying to do. Because he's kind of made it a null game. Chinese have things which the Americans want, which Americans need, right? And nobody else in the world can give them. And the Chinese are slapping on a tariff on that. While Americans are slapping a tariff on things that's coming from mainland China, which can come from anywhere else in the world, as long as it doesn't come from mainland China, because mainland China has access to the rest of the world to send it to the US. So now this has become a no-burger, as they say, or a no-brainer, or I don't understand what he's trying to do. So this is the main reason why the American markets took a U-turn, and it's gone way back, up by 2,000 points. The Japanese market today, back up, because we are back to square one, and it seems like we just had a roller coaster for no reason. Or was there a reason? Because there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating out in the world, especially in the social medias and in the internet, that there's a lot of ideas why Trump might have done this, so the people behind him might have done this, tank the market and then flush the market back up, could be. I don't know, I'm not a believer in conspiracy theories, Right now, nothing makes sense to me other than it just looks plain old crazy and stupid. Hey, I don't know. Today, Indian markets were closed. If there is no change in anything tonight, you can expect when the Indian market opens tomorrow, we're going to be on overdrive. Are you going to feel like I missed an opportunity? Oh no, I should have put my kitchen sink into this market and now I'd be 10%, 15% up. A lot of people are feeling that about Nike. They're feeling that about Crocs. They're feeling that about Levi's in the US. They should have just bought a hell of a lot and listened to Donald Trump. I understand that feeling. It's normal. It's human to feel it. But believe me, this is extremely volatile and I would strongly urge you and advise you not to do that. Please stay in Tiffin Coffee range as you invest tomorrow. There will be a lot of anticipation in the market. This is just based on the news today, because by the time we wake up tomorrow, the whole thing could have changed again, because that's how fast and fluid it is. And that's how uncertain things are. And we really do not know what the Japanese and the Chinese and the other people who hold a lot of US treasury still feel and still think. So keep all this in mind. So thanks for watching Be Rich today. I hope you have a wonderful day and I hope I had a wonderful evening. And I'll see you tomorrow with something more interesting. Thank you for watching the video today.